The Honourable Member for La Prairie, Mr. Speaker, the federal government's incompetence in managing passports is outstanding. The only solution isn't appointment vouchers, as the Minister is proposing. It's not to hold a 50-50 draw. It's not by organising Hunger Games. It's by opening offices 7 days a week. People are in line and they're there 7 days a week. Mr. Speaker, tomorrow is the Fête Nationale. The Minister does not have the right to let citizens without an appointment today sleep outside for another 4 nights until Monday. That is inhumane. When is she finally going to understand that offices must be open 7 days a week with extended hours? The Honourable Minister for Families. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The situation in Montreal is truly unacceptable, and that is the reason for which, starting yesterday, we had teams of managers to talk to people in line to make sure that everyone had a conversation with a manager so that they would receive an appointment. Service Canada offices will be open until midnight tonight to help people and serve people. We have a new strategy that's been implemented, and appointments are being offered on Fridays and Saturdays to people who are lining up today and whose travel isn't imminent. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for La Prairie. The Minister will go to the queues in Quebec and ask people if they are satisfied with being told that this is unacceptable, that we must do better, that we are working hard. Mr. Speaker, the offices must be open 7 days a week with extended hours so long as there are no more lines. People are waiting day and night in the rain, completely abandoned. Tension is mounting. People are getting angry. People are in tears. They are victims of federal incompetence. So, is the government finally going to start actually governing, or is it going to have to ask the help from the army? The Honourable Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Service Canada staff are already working 12, 14, 16 hours a day. They are here from dawn. They are serving Canadians. They are there on Saturdays as well in order to process passports and receive applications during the day. They print passports at night. They're working very hard in this very extraordinary situation that we're experiencing in Montreal. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, no one is surprised by the passport crisis. The union warned the government in January. It was predictable. Since 2018, the government has cut 450 positions at passports. So, in the very midst of a crisis, the 600 hirings that the Minister is talking about are not an increase in service, they are just a return to pre-pandemic levels. Mr. Speaker, we are in crisis. This requires a crisis effort. When will the Minister deploy a sufficient number of people to open offices 7 days a week? The Honourable Minister for Families. Mr. Speaker, passport offices are open on weekends in the busiest urban centres to ensure that people who need their passport in an urgent manner can get one. We have hired 600 staff. Starting in January, we are hiring 600 more. We are reassigning Service Canada staff and other department staff, for example, CRA staff, StatsCan staff, IRCC staff, and staff from other offices. We are putting everything in position to rectify this unacceptable situation for Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for Thérèse de Blainville, Mr. Speaker. The union is trying to find these 600 people. Well, they found 5 new people at Guy Favreau. Well, the union expects a return to normalcy only in October. The chaos cannot last another 4 months. The Minister can call on retirees for help. She can move resources from other departments. She can create a training blitz for new staff. At the very least, she could let in people who are sleeping outside and make sure that they are treated humanely, even if it means hiring out other rooms. That is crisis management. What is the Minister waiting for? The Honourable Minister for Families. Mr. Speaker, we have already done everything that my honourable colleague has enumerated. It takes 15 weeks to train a passport officer. This training started months ago, and the new class will start on Monday. This is not something that can be changed overnight. This has already been in place for months, Mr. Speaker. The situation in Montreal is better today. In Laval and Saint-Laurent, we have made sure that everyone receives an appointment at Guy Favreau. We are currently making sure that the hundreds of people there receive their appointments, and we will continue to put everything in position to serve Canadians. The Honourable Member for Thérèse de Blainville. Mr. Speaker, there is a gap between what is said and what is done. The passport crisis is not just an administrative fiasco. There are people at the very end of their tether in the rain as we speak. There are people missing their parents' funerals. There are people who are losing work contracts. And the minister's message to these people is basically, your call is important to us. When will the people in the queues feel that this is actually true, that their situation is being taken seriously? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, we are taking this situation very seriously, and that is the very reason for which we have changed our strategy in Montreal. The situation in Montreal is an extraordinary one. It's different to other parts of the country. We've had 1,500, 2,000 people waiting outside of passport offices in the past 7 days. Every single person in the line today has received an appointment, either for today, tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, in order to ensure that they will receive their passports. That is what we want, and that is what we are doing.
The Liberals want to make inflation about international events beyond their control. They blame Russia for the rising costs of food and gas. They blame travelers for their airport mess. They blame Canadians for waiting too long to renew their passports. They blame individual complexities for the immigration backlog. Skyrocketing housing? Not their fault either. The government is quick to take credit when things are good and blame everyone else when Canadians are struggling. Can anyone on the other side answer a basic question or at least tell us when they plan on bringing people back to work to fix their chaos?
The Honourable Minister for Families.
I think the member opposite owes the hard-working public servants an apology, because when it comes to Service Canada, they have been back in the office 4 months serving Canadians. These are the same people who delivered 9 million Canadians.
Shame on you!
I'm going to have to wait a moment. Please let me know when we can continue. I think we can continue. The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The member opposite owes the hard-working public servants an apology, because they have been working day in and day out to serve Canadians. I understand that Canadians are frustrated. There are a lot of challenges right now, and this government is working hard to serve them. The only thing I can conjure from that member's response is that unlike hardworking people across this country, when the members of Parliament, Conservative members of Parliament were working from home, they weren't working. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Once again, I just want to remind everyone that I know tensions are high and everybody is looking forward to getting out of this place, but please be judicious.